I've got 5 courses now. Some Udemy instructors make thousands of dollars a month. I mean, silly money.
Today we just finished 1 day of filming online course about cybersecurity.
I can remember the first time somebody bought it and I had $5.62. Wow, I'm rich.
The film, they're going to do video editing that you can proud about on the output.
Generally, I think it was a very efficient, effective process, and
I learned a lot.
that's a whole new world to me.
My first rule is to make sure that all what I do will work for my client purposes.
You do it because you have a passion for it.
And this experience from first hands, it's a golden experience. Today we just finished 1 day of filming online course about cybersecurity. How many months did you spend, by the way, to prepare all the material for this course?
This material for this course, surprisingly not that long, probably between 2 and 3 weeks of effort, but spread over a much longer duration. Obviously, I didn't work full time on it or anything like that. As we were saying, it is a replacement for an earlier course, so I really had a foundation from previously to that, and I was able to build on that.
For how many years you work in cybersecurity field?
I was teaching as a general computer science lecturer at a university, and I was invited to do a PhD in information security. So that was what piqued my interest. I mean, we're talking way back in the 1990s, a long time ago, when it's a very new subject area. And sort of, I got involved as a researcher first of all, and then I came back into private practice and I've worked there. So really, it's well over 20 years that I've been working in and around cybersecurity.
So when I asked you about how much time did it take you to prepare this course, I would say it took you 25 years.
Yes, and it is the truth is that it's not starting from scratch. You can write the material relatively quickly because you know the subject, just because as you say, I've probably spent half of a working lifetime in that broad subject area.
You mentioned that this is not the first course in cybersecurity. You already have at least one that you did 5 years ago.
Yes, I did a Udemy course 5 years ago, but I've actually written the modules and taught the courses at both undergraduate and postgraduate level for cybersecurity courses at different universities. So I've actually been actively involved in curricular development in this broad area at a university level. Udemy courses are very much a professional level course, so they're a different kind of level that you're going at, but it's the subject knowledge as opposed to the teaching knowledge is broadly similar.
Do you have any experience in delivering speeches, acting on a stage?
You cannot imagine a person in their private life who would be more terrified of being on a stage of, I'm not interested in amateur dramatics or anything like that. But of course, I was a working lecturer for over 20 years. So ironically, I find it easier to talk to a group of 100 real people than I do to stare at one of those little things. I find that intimidating, whereas a group of 100 people on a subject I'm comfortable with, I don't find too difficult. Staring at a camera with its cold eye, I find very, very challenging.
Okay, let's jump into the overall process of filming today. What your first impression were when we set up everything, you start filming, we did just the first lecture?
Well, as you knew from my voice, I was a little bit nervous when we started. And I think we've been through an awful lot of material today. We've done 20 full lectures and some supplementary material. I think you'd agree that we've had a fair work sort of schedule for today, and we rattled through it. And I think correctly, the first 3 or 4 that we took, we ended up doing again in a different kind of context. And so I think there is a settling in time. I mean, it's this, although we've spoken over the video before, we haven't actually met physically until today. And I think there's a little gelling that has to go on both sides where you get to know what each wants the other one to do. And so once we got into that, I think there was a 2 or 3 hours where we got into the flow and we just carried on and worked our way, methodically from script 1 to script 2, and it went, I think, very well. We had occasionally a battery would run out, or a car would go by, or we had to stop for a helicopter, I believe, at one point. Yeah. So stuff happens, but generally, I think it was a very efficient, effective process, and we've got through what I thought was a large workload in less time than I think both of us had actually expected.
Thank you. What kind of advices would you give to anyone who wants to film a course by himself at home?
Don't do it. No.
No.
Of course. So one thing that perhaps I'd learned the hard way, but you reinforced it straight away. When you set up, the first thing you did was you took a test video and we actually put it up on the screen to make sure that there weren't any little objects in the corner that were disturbing the picture, or that, you know, the sound quality was all right from that. So that little sort of test shot, which almost from the content producer's point of view feels like a bit of a waste of time. You know, you got yourself psyched up to deliver this content, and now you just do a little snippet, and you have to go through the whole process of copying it somewhere and seeing it. It feels like a lot of time, but it's so valuable because you basically pick up those little things in the corner of the frame that you wouldn't have seen.
Yes, and especially when you film this with a small screen on your camera, you never know, either you're well focused, either you have some strange elements like cup of milk or whatever on your table. Sound. This is the scariest part for any videographer.
Yeah.
You could spend a day of filming and then get sense that sound is awful.
Sound is awful.
Sound is awful. And today, even today, for example, we use Rode Wireless Go-To mics right now, and you have Rode Vapo mic. And when you plug it into your mic here, and you don't know, does it work or not? I asked for headphones just to check, and it didn't work. This mic was designed to be used with smartphones, but not with our Rode Wireless Go-To mic.
It's a different, yeah.
So what can we do? Here we have a second wire. It's 3.5 TRRS female to 3.5 TRS male adapter cable. So actually the difference on these 3.5 jacks, that here we have 3 elements, and on this Vapo mic it's just 4 elements. And we need 3 to make it work properly. Such tiny scenes are crucial. What else? Lighting.
The lighting has been a whole new thing for me. I mean, I've got a couple of lights that probably are not on the camera, but you've moved lights around. You've lit my hair. You've lit every part of me, I think. And then in some of the scenes where we wanted to tell stories, you use much more dramatic lighting with color and things like that. That's a whole new world to me.
In this course, you did a great job with scripting. I would say that my first impression was that I was impressed that there are so many real-life examples when cybersecurity crimes happened. These stories, like a crucial element, when I saw that we can record it separately, we can do this like a separate story, I got goosebumps. Of we should do this. Then we set it up every scene just for these stories, and I'm afraid that those stories will be even more eye-catching than the course that we filmed, just because of RGB lighting and those tiny small light sources that we have here.
Yeah, only small, but like that police effect, the blue and the red. And, yes, it's cool.
Yeah. What else? You have just gorgeous place to film.
Well, I'm very lucky. I've worked as a lecturer for many years. The years before the pandemic, I was forced to have to go online. Well, through the pandemic, I was forced to go online. I was teaching students in Hong Kong, used to travel there, couldn't travel. So I used this as a live streaming studio, and acquired bits and pieces as a person does. And to some extent, it's been my hobby as well. So, you know, I've been lucky. I can buy, I mean, it's only consumer grade equipment, but I can buy within reason the things that I want. Yeah. And I've enjoyed assembling a various collection of bits and pieces, and they've worked well with yours. Ironically, we often had the same brand, even down to the clips.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to work on your course today. I would say that I learned a lot just in how it can be well organized. I also never filmed courses with teleprompter before.
Right.
So for me, it's just a first experience to record online course with teleprompter. And I really like this AI tool that you have there.
Yeah.
Could you tell a few words about that?
So again, previously I've used a teleprompter or I've actually got a foot Bluetooth pedal where you've got the teleprompter coming up and you use the pedal to start and stop it. But I have a piece of Apple compatible software called Prompt Smart, and it's a teleprompter, which is not a particularly sophisticated piece of software. But what's unusual about it is it listens to your voice and basically tries to show the prompt as it goes. And just out of interest, we had nearly 11,000 words to get through today. Yeah. So it's a lot of words. And it did stumble once or twice, didn't it? It would stop and what have you. But in general, we were going, in terms of the prompter, it was going very well, wasn't it? If I stopped, it stopped.
It was
if
great.
I started, as I say, occasionally. But far less cognitive load on me because I'm not trying to play with a pedal or press a switch or anything. I'm just concentrating on trying to deliver to the best of my ability the content, and it's keeping up with me. If I sped up, it sped up. If I slowed down, it slowed down. So difficult words, things like that, tend to slow down, and it slows down too. So it's the first time I've used it in a course. As I say, I had the other kinds, and I think it's been pretty successful, notwithstanding occasionally you want to throw the thing out the window, but that's all kit, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it that app comes with this teleprompter that you bought? Or
no, the teleprompter, it's a piece of software. I've had it for some
usually
years.
each teleprompter like that have their own
proprietary. Yeah. Oh, yes, I know that there's plenty of teleprompter apps out there, and particularly where they've got like a fixed scroll rate, so they go at a certain speed, or as I say, you can interrupt them with something. This one, I purchased.
Is it free?
No, I don't believe so. It's paid. It wasn't very much, but I think they also do a subscription version, which I haven't got. I paid a lump sum. It was a few pounds. I can't remember exactly what it was, but in the scheme of things, it wasn't a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
And I think for the purpose of it, it's worked very well. And particularly if you're one person, I mean, it's been really good to have you there saying, do that one again, or with more energy, or whatever it might be. So having the human prompter is really, really helpful. But when you're doing it on your own, you've got nothing. It goes some way to improving it.
What I also like in your particular way, how you act to the teleprompter, what you did, you watched not straightforward there. It wasn't not to suppose that you're reading. You did just this like 5 degrees scene like that. And with glasses, with the way how you turned your head a bit, from my point of view, at least right now, that wasn't noticeable that you're reading at all. So hopefully during post-production process, we won't see this at all as well.
I hope so. I suppose, again, coming from my lecturing background, when you've got a human audience in front of you, you work the room. So obviously no humans other than yourself here, but in a lecture theatre, you would basically quite systematically look across the width, down the depth. And so what I tried to do is not actually look at the teleprompter, straightforward stare at, sort of this kind of cold-eyed stare. My early videos were very much like that. You sort of look like a scared rabbit as you look at the screen, the camera. But
may I ask you about some process? I know that I asked you about it before, about the Udemy. You can create a product, you can do a post-production, but then you need to sell it somehow.
You do.
And without that, it doesn't make sense even to start. You're tired right now. So would you do this advertisement by yourself, or maybe Udemy will do this for you, or how actually does it work?
Okay, so let's break it into what's happened in the past and what I might do in the future. So look at it that way. So historically, I've done nothing, and it's all been down to Udemy. So I put up this first course 5 going on 6 years ago, the course that we've filmed the replacement for today.
How many courses you have?
I've got 5 courses now. So although this is a cybersecurity course, I also have a professional interest in privacy law, so the General Data Protection Regulation and other laws around the world. So I've got courses on Australian privacy law, on Californian privacy law, on Chinese privacy law. So these are laws that they kind of come up with cybersecurity because there's the regulation side of it. So I've got a number of courses, but it started off with the one that we're doing the replacement for at the moment. I put the course up, and I can remember the first time somebody bought it, and I had, I don't know, $5.62 or whatever. Wow, I'm rich. And then it kind of dribbled in a few a month and what have you. And at some point, probably 18 months, 2 years in, so it really was small money for a couple of years for that. Udemy, they have a Udemy for business. Now, it's perhaps different from the course you were talking about, but mine courses are very much professional courses aimed at a business audience. So Udemy has a Udemy for business outfit, and they pick up what they call curated courses where people feel that in the workplace it's reasonable for them. And once that happens, then my money starts to go up, because that system, basically I get paid by the minute against a pool of other people. So if you need a lot of minutes, don't get me wrong, but if you get a lot of minutes, you get a lot of money. And some, not many, but some Udemy instructors make thousands of dollars a month. I mean, silly money, like stupid. If you're in a really popular topic area and you're a popular in marketing, for example, some of the people who do the sort of chat GPT marketing courses and that, they have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of students, and they make tens of thousands of dollars per,
Wow.
I won't say exactly how much, but they do make serious money. I'm a one-man band on the edge.
So it should be in business field, then it will work better than when you just have a course about something, but it's not like business orientated.
Yeah, I think the marketing and the business orientated courses, it is Udemy for business. I think the clue's in the name.
Yeah.
So whilst cybersecurity is a bit like going to the dentist, it's useful, but nobody wants to do it.
Okay.
So just because I sad and do it, people do it because they have to, not because they want to. Whereas if you're talking about marketing, business, and all of those kinds of things, people really, because they think they can make money, so they want to sort of go into that. So there would be in Udemy topic areas, and again, because it's not my area, I can't really point you to that. But I would suspect if you're going after the dollar, would probably be a better place to go. To be fair to Udemy, you can actually type into them and say what courses would sell well, and they'll say we want courses in this, that, and the other. So it's not like they won't help you.
So probably a course about swimming won't be business oriented.
Well, this is because I can't really speak for this. I know that they do have a lot of humanity, human interest courses, but because it really isn't my area, I just don't know what the demand for those courses is.
Do you have anyone who doing courses as well on Udemy?
No, no, I don't.
So how you decided to do a course?
I sort of retired partly through the pandemic, partly through Brexit, from working
Online.
Well, yes. So I wanted to keep my skills up, and I just sort of thought I'd do this and see how it went, and that's it really.
So you just did it and it worked?
Yeah, I'd say it's a slow burn. I mean, you do it because you have a passion for it. For the hours you put in, you don't make a proper living, in truth. By the time you bought all the equipment and the hours that you put in, it's not you do it because you have an interest in it. But that, again, if you went to the right subject area, I'm sure that's very different. Some of these people, they have teams working for them. They put together really professional courses. They presumably have people like yourself on a bigger scale even, where they work and they pump out dozens of courses and they treat it like a business, and they make a lot of money. They have proper production values, music, and all sorts of extra things. Well, I'm not in that market. I'm a one-man sort of band, but people do it.
We discussed what you did before, but what are you going to do with this course?
Right. So what I want to do with this course is, in part, take some of the things that you've suggested, the short form videos, the little social media posts and that, and we've had several conversations alluding to the bits where basically you've now got a load of content, and we can chop it up and put some here and put some there and do it out. So I'm very interested in doing that once the course is up and running. Separately to that, I've got professional profile on LinkedIn, so I'll put bits of material out there. One thing I can do, Udemy business I'm talking about won't let me put the same course up elsewhere, so I can't put it up under my own name or independently or put it on another Udemy-like site. There's Skillshare,
but you
for example.
can promote Udemy course.
Well, I can. So if you look at a Udemy course, you've got, in this case, 20 odd lectures. 3 or 4 of those lectures will be free previews that anybody can see. Those previews I can put on my YouTube channel because, in a sense, there's no fee for watching those particular bits, and all they're trying to do is promote my Udemy course. So I will take the preview lectures and put them onto YouTube, and they could be promoted. And we've already talked about chopping up other lectures to sort of reusing content, isn't it? And I mean,
so you need, I would say, optimize your videos for SEO, from SEO side as well.
And this is an area that I'm this is not my background, but you remind me that I've also been spending a lot of time on my own website, just a WordPress website, nothing particularly fancy, but I have been progressively adding blog posts, long content articles, and particularly I've been using sort of educational technology. There's an open source product called H5P, which enables you to take a video and make it interactive by stopping the video at various points and putting in a multiple choice set of questions, or a true false question, or extra information.
Is it inside your website player? It's not on Udemy.
No. So this is supplementary content, so that if you recall, at the end of the Udemy lecture, we did what was called the bonus lecture. And in the bonus lecture, you are allowed to take them off the site and say, go and look at this. There are restrictions. It can't be behind a paywall, for example. You can't have to register. So this content is freely available to anybody who wants it. I'll show you if you want in a bit, so you can actually see what I mean. And you can actually take this content, and in my case, I've used a product called Pictory.ai. I don't know if you've come across them. So here, you take a little script, fairly short script, simple script, not a sophisticated script like we've been dealing with. You throw it into this AI, it goes and grabs relevant stock video and makes a video for you. Then you say, don't like that one, don't like this one. And it just uses the stock library, story blocks, I think is the background. And you chop it around a little bit. You might put your own bits of text over it. You hit the button and it generates a video. I take that, put it onto my WordPress site, and then I use this educational content to chop it up and sort of put various bits and pieces. And so it gives you the option of making an interactive video for the students. Instead of being a passive experience where you just watch the video, 30 seconds in, it stops and asks you a question, and it'll keep score of whether you're right or wrong. So it's trying to add value to the student experience.
It's like a quiz, but inside a video. They're able to choose right answers or wrong. They get results immediately, and they can continue watching video.
Yeah, both. So they get immediate feedback. You can get right or wrong. Yeah. You actually get a text description of well done, da 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 da.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. Whatever I put in. You can imagine the more you do this, the more time it takes to develop. But yes, you can do those things.
I already imagine how I organize onboarding process for my video editors. Take a look at a video, answer the question. Is there an option to do just one and block this option for them to reduce this?
Yeah, you can. But it's designed. It's a very popular in the education field. So it's open source. So it's free software. You can. In my case, I've got a copy of it that works with WordPress. But people use it. If you come across learning management systems like Moodle, or these are systems that typically universities and colleges use for large, where they've got 10,000 plus students and that kind of stuff. So these modules are free and open source, and you plug them in, and they have all sorts of learning resources. You've got essay writing. You can even do what are called branching scenarios, which are very complicated in one day. There's all sorts of. It's a proper educational sort of toolkit for building interactive, engaging content that's highly automated. There's something I'd like to bring up. So when I first approached you several months ago, I know it's been a protracted period. I've been away a lot, and that's fine. But I approached you, and you very quickly responded, initially through email, and we set up that first call. And the thing that really impressed me was that you spent with me, I think you said you'd do 20 minutes or 40, I can't remember, but you spent well over an hour with me from scratch. I mean, you didn't know nothing of me other than a sort of two-line email that I'd sent you or whatever. And I explained what I did, and I took you to places, and you listened. That's important. You listened. You didn't just go into a sales spiel. You actually sat down and listened to what I said. And then we had a conversation. It wasn't a monologue. And you gave me some good advice in terms of back then and what have you. There's a certain discussion over the financial aspects and that, but we had that discussion, and you told what would be expensive, what wouldn't, because clearly, getting things like motion graphics would not be in my budget and that kind of stuff. So, but we had the discussion, and then coming down, you've traveled some distance to come to me, and you've been very willing to do that. You got here at the crack of dawn. You're not going to get home till late, so from my point of view, it's been a delightful experience that you've been interested. I'm a one-man band. I mean, what I like is the fact you've shown an interest in making it as good as possible. All day today, stop, we could do it better by doing it this way and that. So, for what it's worth, it's just the fact that you've engaged with a client, and the whole the whole intent of someone like me approaching you is to do it better. And so I feel you've taken a positive interest in that.
My first rule is to make sure that all what I do will work for my client purposes. And that won't be a lie if I say that sometimes I just refuse to work with someone, even if you have a lot of money, you have lots of ideas, but he not well organized, or I have a feeling that he doesn't have a goal, a purpose, why is he doing that? In your case, I understood what you want, and I really pleased to work with nice content and do some nice video editing that you can proud about on the output. And when you reached me out and I understood that you live not so far away, just 2 hours by car, that means that we'll be able to create something that I'll be able to proud. So that's why I took an hour just to help you to set up everything.
Yeah,
that's why I
did. Yeah,
that's why I took an hour with each new client and help them to set up their studio for free before we start the video editing, and help them to buy the equipment that works for their budget as well, because this is my hobby.
You've been engaged and interested in it, as I am in the actual subject that I'm teaching. I mean, so I think it's been a good synergy of the two of us.
It's almost the same way you have so many
same brand equipment, yes.
Yeah, and all those electrical things here around. I was pleased to work with you today. Thank you for the conversation and for the opportunity to film all of that.
Very welcome. Been great.